Hey everyone, welcome to the Art Inward Spiral. I'm Nicole Ivy, and this video is going to be about my shamanic vision that I had that gave me my name and the meaning behind it, and how having kind of like this alter ego can help you shift your mindset and kind of change the way that you look at yourself, which will automatically change your life. So I mentioned in my previous videos that I had made this huge decision back in 2015 that resulted in me like quitting my entire life, my jobs, left my family, moved to the other side of the country to live in an eco village and learn about permaculture. This was the best decision that I ever made, and my life has, it put me on a different trajectory. And one of the things that I did after that move was I decided maybe a year after that I wanted to start slow traveling. And for me, that just meant I was going to do some road trips, and I was going to just kind of like live in places where I could volunteer and work, like temporarily, and then move on. So I was trying to do this, but along the way I found this place that I kept coming back to. And this was in 2016, my first season there. I took this class on shamanism. And it was just like a little workshop that I would go to every week. And during this one particular workshop, I got this prompt from the shaman. So there were a bunch of us there. Everybody was lying on the floor with their blankets. And in the middle of the room, it was a dark room, there was an altar with anything that you wanted to bring. You could bring like a crystal, feathers, flowers, whatever. And so it was kind of like this decorated altar. And the shaman gave us this prompt and said, you're going to go back to a time and place where you betrayed yourself. And then he starts drumming. And I'm like, as soon as he said that, I went straight back to high school. And high school was not a good time for me. I felt excruciatingly lonely and different from everyone else. And with certain experiences that I had, I just fell into a depression. And I didn't reach out. I didn't tell anybody how I was feeling. I couldn't connect with anyone, or I felt like I couldn't relate to anyone else around me. So what I saw in my vision was this wound from head to toe, like right down the center of me. And in my vision, I just kind of was like crouched, kind of holding the skin together, trying to like keep it together and hide it and make sure I'm not seen, so that I don't have to be vulnerable or talk about it or look too sensitive. So that was my vision on that. That was how my mind created the symbolism, I guess, visually for myself to see what I was doing. I was just ignoring myself and not self-advocating, not speaking up for myself. So as I was crouched there, I noticed that I was in the most beautiful place. I was in this dark forest, and my absolute favorite place, like I've traveled around the US, my favorite place is the redwoods, and it always was in my mind. Like, I had always wanted to go there, and I told myself, like, finally getting to the Redwoods would be like a devout Catholic finally getting to the Vatican. Like, that's how I thought of it in my mind, like the most sacred place in my mind was the Redwoods. When I finally got to see it, I was like blown away. But it felt like that's where I was. I was in a place like that. And there was this log, like huge log or a table. It was like a large piece of wood. And I was laying on it now. I see myself walk in, looking at myself. And in my mind, I don't know where this vision is happening, I label her as my mother self. I look just like me, but I had this different kind of, it was a different way I carried myself. And I was wearing this like white, lacy, like flowy hippie dress, I guess. And I walk over like very like calmly and like kind of like knowingly. I don't know how to describe this quality, but like motherly, like earth mother, like quality. And I see this wound on my self and my mother self just plants seeds in the wound. And then she starts to stitch it up. And then she puts this like healing salve on it, this healing ointment. And immediately these seeds start to sprout, and all of these green vines start like creeping over me and covering my entire body. And I just got the chills. And the feeling was of like protection, and it kind of made me think of like a cocoon, a place where I could be protected and heal and transform, and a place where I have space to give myself what I need without interference from the outside world or anyone in particular. And if anybody tries to penetrate this boundary, then they will suffer consequences because poison ivy can give you an itchy rash of fire. So I didn't know what to think at first when I first saw that this was poison ivy, like these vines, because I did not have good experiences with poison ivy when I was growing up. I got it so easily. I was like highly allergic, and it just seemed like I could look at poison ivy and get it and get the rash. I remember once having to go to the ER with my mom, and she, the doctor gave me steroids to kind of like, cut down the inflammation that was happening and make the rash go away. So yeah, not the best experiences with poison ivy, but I knew that this vision had insight and medicine for me. And thinking it over after like the next couple days and kind of like processing this vision that I had, I realized that it was about enforcing your boundaries. I had no boundaries, and I kind of just always had let people take advantage of me. And that was happening in high school and beyond. Like, I didn't learn that lesson, and I'm still learning boundaries. It's a constant thing because it's something that you have to decide that you need to enforce every day. It's about you. It's not about other people. It's about these are my boundaries. This is how I will be treated. This is how I will be respected. And if you can't do that, then I'm going to move myself away from this situation and I'm going to do something about it. It's not that, you better do this, or like giving people ultimatums. It's not about them at all. It's just about what you will and will not tolerate in your life. So I'm still on that journey of learning from poison ivy medicine. And there were other things that I was surprised to find out. I did a little bit of research into poison ivy. After that, I wanted to find out, like, well, what else does it have to teach me? I learned that poison ivy grows in areas that were disrupted, and that made perfect sense to me. My mother self-planted it in this very disrupted area because it was an open wound. So when there is an open wound out in nature, poison ivy is very opportunistic, and it will go there, and that place will heal. So that was really beautiful to me. And also, I read that poison ivy tends to grow on the edges of a forest, and that was really cool to hear too, because I had another epiphany maybe a year prior to this, that I was telling myself, oh, I'm always looking to the outside of myself, especially to like nature, to find beauty in everything around me. But I never turn inward and look to see that the redwoods are inside of you. Like, there is beauty inside of you. You hold infinite wisdom within yourself, just like everyone else. And looking inward can be the answer for so many things. Recognizing that poison ivy grows on the edge of a forest, and having the epiphany a year prior to that told me directly that the redwoods are inside of you, and the poison ivy was growing on me to protect those sacred redwoods inside. I just thought that was the coolest thing. So I kind of took on poison ivy, or ivy, as the protector and the one who provides space for me to heal, to recharge, and to just really enforce boundaries so that I feel respected, that my needs are being met, that I'm protected. And having that like invoked every time somebody calls your name is really powerful. But you don't have to actually have other people tell you, like, call you something different. You don't have to do that. And I didn't do that. Like, I didn't change my name. My nickname became Nicole Ivy. And then years later, like today, there are a few people that do call me just Ivy. But that doesn't have to be something that you do. It's nice sometimes to acknowledge that there are these different sides to ourselves. And when you're feeling like you're weak or less capable of doing something, or you don't feel that you're skilled at doing certain things, or standing up for yourself, that there are sides of you that can. And making a clearer picture of them in your mind, and kind of like creating this character. So that's what I did afterwards. I kind of created a lot of different characters, and I can talk about that in another video, that kind of represent all these different sides to myself. And then by creating like a relationship with each of these different sides, you can help like integrate all these little pieces of yourself that maybe you've felt shame around or have just kind of crept up in these subconscious ways and come out negatively. You can kind of like flip it around and use them in a positive way. And that's, I think, a really cool way to kind of do some healing and integration within yourself, because all of us have these little fragmented pieces or parts of ourselves that we kind of bury or hide. But I mean, you can't hide them. They eventually creep out. So it's better to just be aware of them and try to, you know, embrace them. So this was just one idea of how to do that, is to kind of take things that you maybe are already doing. Like in my example, the hiding that I would do was a way for me to protect myself, but it was also a way to keep me disconnected and lonely. So instead of hiding to protect myself, I can learn how to kind of temper that. So instead of just becoming a recluse, I can learn there are some times that I need to take space and I need my downtime and I need to have alone time. And that'll help me recharge. But it's temporary, because then I need to, you know, pull back the vines, come out and reconnect with people. So like I get to choose when it comes and goes. I'm not just at the mercy of this part of myself. That, you know, it's like my higher self is choosing when I kind of shift between them, so that it's just a healthier, more balanced way of being. So that, yeah, that's how I'll leave it. I'm trying to like over explain it, but yeah, I don't know if anybody else kind of does this. I'm sure there's plenty of people that, you know, use the alter ego thing. I guess I didn't come to it. I came to it kind of like organically, I guess I'll say, because I had been thinking about these different parts of myself for a really long time and had all these different names for them. This one just came up through my shamanic vision, and I decided like, oh, that one is my protector. And I'm still learning how to, it's not even learning, it's just kind of always a negotiation happening between all these parts of ourselves, because they're all communicating with each other, or they should be. If they're not, then I think that's when we run into problems. So it's just about remaining aware of, you know, who's maybe getting a little bit too much power and kind of like taking over, and which ones are so buried and need to kind of be let out more and come into their power. So anyway, let me know if you guys have these kind of alter egos, or these different parts of yourself that you're trying to work with, or if you want to give names to them, or if you want to tell me what their names are. I just find it like super interesting to see how other people kind of maybe go about working with this. And anyway, I hope you guys have a good week, and I will see you next time. Bye.